not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turns Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people to go meet it up, pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it up. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. No man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. Because I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You're everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of lies. Send down your warriors with the hello, they carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil try trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could it be that we is myself? No weapon that form against I shall not prevail. No man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. Because I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer them. I am a man, I am a champion, I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Sister Isle Radio, broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to all of you joining us on the live video stream, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram. Good morning to you. It is a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning in the Spice Isle of Grenada, and it is wonderful to be home. And of course, with me in studio, I have none other than Mr. Roland Bola. Well, Senator Roland Bola. I missed out on all of the excitement. But good morning to you, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, Ms. Duncan, and welcome back. I know you've been missed, not just by myself, but also your listeners. We really are happy that you're back, and you're back at a very wonderful time of the year. it's Christmas, and so it's I think about the best time of the year when one can join forces with family and friends,
Absolutely.
of course. Good morning to our listeners out there. Again, we're happy to be back. I missed you for a couple of days in last week, and that is because I had to attend the Senate sitting. As it is now public knowledge, I've been asked to return to the Senate for a while and to replace our former Senator Kim George, who for personal reasons, which he have indicated, had to demit the position at the Senate. And so I was asked to replace her for the time being until such time that I believe the government and party and whoever else is responsible may find someone more prominent and suitable to put in that position. Nevertheless, we had 3 days of Senate session, which I enjoyed. I didn't know that it would feel so good getting back in there, but it did. Very welcoming, and I must say that all of the senators were, very open armed with me. And we had, while we discussed serious issues on the budget and the nation's business, we did find a little time to joke with each other and share a smile and a little old talk, and so it was good. I really do hope that for last week, all of the listeners to our program did have a really good week, that things went well for you, that your weekend was pleasant, and in all your preparations for what is to come, which next Friday, or this Friday, sorry, not next, my bad, this Friday will be the celebration of Christmas. But we can't forget that we're doing it in a period when things seem, or not seem,
a little daunting.
It's not seeming, it is daunting. Yeah, it is. The reality is we are battling with a cluster of COVID, and with that, it means that the medical professionals, the people who understand the science of this COVID-19, will have to take the warnings and of course, whatever they say to us, much more serious, because I get a little concerned. I'm not worried, but I'm concerned about the numbers that we're seeing and how quickly they're climbing. Hey, we've said so many times that you just don't know when, you just don't know where or who it may come from, and that if we are not prepared and we are not following the protocols, hey, it could be very devastating for us. I really honestly do hope and ask God not to allow us to get that serious, that bad. But people, just want to say to everyone, listen, the protocols that has been set in place and the adherence to them, it is not for the safety and security of the government of Grenada or the Prime Minister or any one of the ministers. It is for our individual safety.
Yeah.
It is to save our own lives and that of our families.
Absolutely.
So let's strip the politics out of it and let's forget about who we like and dislike, whether we like the Minister of Health or not, or we happy with the Prime Minister or not. What we should be concentrating on, first and foremost at this time, is how do we preserve our lives and that of those whom we love. Absolutely. So, with those opening words, Ms. Duncan, again, welcome back, and it's happy that you are in that chair where you can take charge and be the host of your program, Hard Talk.
I know. And you've been doing a wonderful job, Mr. Bola. I've tried my best, despite the circumstances, to listen in, to tune in, to, give my 2 pence where I could. But of course, there's nothing like being home. There was a shade for a lamp at one time in the early days. I mean, you wouldn't know that. You grew up in St. George's knowing electricity from the day you were born. I grew up in the countryside, in the rural area, as we call it. And what we knew in the early days before we were able, as low and middle income families, to get electricity, we had lamps. Right.
And there was a lampshade called Home Sweet Home. And if you've ever heard anyone spoke about that, because the lamps would be this kind of glass bottle-shaped stuff that you put the kerosene into, because the kerosene was the fluid that caused it to get flame.
Right.
And then there'd be like it It was called the wick, the lamp wick. But it's a clottish material, well woven into form that you place from that little thing like the burner that is on top of the bottle, and it goes all the way down into the bottle, so it soaks the kerosene, and you would light it. But it smokes sometimes, and the light wouldn't be that bright until you put the shade. The shade is a glass thing now that you put over the flame, and it illuminates the room. It makes it bright and nice, and there's a little adjuster on the side that you can turn the flame up or turn it down. The further up you send the wick, the more flames you got.
Right.
The lower down you brought it, so you could dim the light a little bit. It was fancy. I wish I had one of those now around, so that they.
You mean those old time, and with no disrespect, but I mean the old time lamps, those with the
lamps. Yes.
Right.
I'm not talking about the fancy things we have nowadays that work with electricity. I'm talking about those that you had to put the kerosene.
Yeah, but I know
bottle.
those lamps. My grandparents had those.
Yeah, but you didn't grow with your grandparents. I'm just saying that you grew in St. George's, which was always much more modern than of course, the rural parts of the island. You are a city girl.
I'm a city girl.
You must not deny that.
Of course not. Of course. I'm a proud city girl at that.
Great. So some of the experiences people like myself would have had growing up, you maybe didn't.
I probably didn't, most likely. Yeah. Now, we have so much things to talk about, Mr. Bola, and I do want to spend some time stressing on the importance of following the protocols, especially now in this time where we are faced with one of our biggest challenges as a government dealing with this pandemic. I think this is going to be the most important test for us of our protocols and test of our response to how we deal with an outbreak of the virus. I mean, the circumstances under which it happened, of course, are not the best of circumstances. But of course, I'm a little bit optimistic. I'm looking at how we deal with this. I'm looking at how people respond to it, and I must say that I must commend the Grenadian population, because on returning, I have seen more adherence. Not as much as I would like to see, not as much as is absolutely necessary, but more than before. So of course I am happy for that, and I must say that people are trying. We are getting there. We are acclimating ourselves to the fact that, listen, COVID is here. COVID, we don't know when it's going to go, how it's going to go, but we have to find situations in which we can exist in an environment where COVID is present. And I think we are becoming more and more cognizant of that fact, and I think we are doing a wonderful job as it relates to adhering to the protocols. More and more do we need to do it, but we're still getting there. I was very, very pleased to see the businesses, the private institutions taking it upon themselves to make these decisions to cancel or to limit some of the social gatherings that they had planned. I was happy to see that the National Bus Association took it upon themselves to adhere to the public, or plead with the public to adhere to the protocols. I was very happy to see those things. And Mr. Bola, I'm sorry that it took this for that to happen. I'm sorry that it took something of this magnitude for something like that to happen, for more collaboration between government and private sector, for more collaboration between government and the people, to understand that we all have a role to play in this fight, for us to understand that in order for us to beat this, in order for us to succeed, in order for us to come out triumphant from any circumstance of COVID that we are going to encounter, because I'm absolutely sure that this is not going to be our last encounter like this. I would hope that it is, but I'm not naive to the fact that there are going to be other instances, maybe not as severe, but other instances in which we have to battle or batten down our hatches when it comes to COVID. And I would have liked to see that, we would have done this before, that we would instead of fighting fire with fire and playing politics with it and seeing who could condemn government more, that we took time to say, listen, we all have a role to play. Let us play this role. Let us do what we need to do. That would have been my wish. You know, I mean, they say never late. You're never late. Better late than never. I don't know what's wrong with my mind this morning. Better late.
Probably not yet.
Well, where else would it be?
I don't know. I'm just being suggestive.
Where else would it be, Mr. Bola? But I mean, it's better late than never, you know?
Yep.
Now that we have identified that we all have a role to play, now that we have identified what our parts in all of this is, maybe now we can actually start putting up a good fight against COVID.
Well, I could not agree with you more, Ms. Duncan. 100% for all that you have said. You've come back. You've met the situation re-COVID worse than when you left.
Yes.
And I think you're bang on the ball. Credit must be given to the Grenadian public.
Of course.
From day one, there have been some people that adhered and continue to with the protocols. There were quite a number among us that felt, well, you know, it's okay, nothing is wrong, we're good in Grenada, things like that don't affect us that serious, there's no need to worry. This present situation, as it is now, one that we don't like at all, one that we wish never happened, have caused some people to take things much more serious and to recognize that, hey, while I've been joking around, this thing is serious. And chances are my good friend had it, my neighbor has it, I can get it, my family can get it. And so more people are massing up, more people are demanding when they go into business places that they be sanitized. The business community has come forward, more of them, I must say, because there was always some that was, you know, doing it. I notice now almost anywhere you go in a business place, they want you to sign in, you have to sanitize. And more consciousness is being seen.
Yeah.
We also have to place on record our tremendous thanks and appreciation for the Ministry of Health and all its workers. You know, sometimes we try to itemize them and it's difficult because you may leave out one section or not, but all, and all meaning whatever position you work in the ministry, whether you've just been shuffling papers around, you're making sure that information reach the media, you are helping to photocopy some of the leaflets that has been distributed, you are a nurse or a doctor, you are one of the frontliners, you drive an ambulance, or you go out and do the test, take the test, you are one of the trackers, what they call them now, the wardens, health wardens, and you know, you help do the contract tracing. The police officers who help and try to enforce those protocols. Whatever position you hold, whatever you have been doing, we are eternally grateful. It is because of your work and your consistency, I believe, that we have not had a much more serious case with COVID than we have presently. What is happening now is bad. By our standard, it has gone too far because we were almost up to the number one position. Yeah. You know, in terms of how we have been dealing with and being able to keep our country COVID-free and safe. Yeah. I think up to this morning, I heard one announcer saying that within the Caribbean region, we still rank about third. About third, yeah. Yeah, based on our population size and the number we have. But that number is growing. And we do not want people to become very fearful and as a result not think clearly on what they're doing. Yeah. What we want to encourage is that people listen to the official statements, and that will come from the Ministry of Health. Absolutely. Or on their website. Now, what we have seen, and we have spoken of that countless times since the start of COVID, that all of a sudden there are so many experts. Oh, yes. On this issue of COVID. Oh, yes. There are so many of us because we have a smartphone, or we can take a good photo, or we know how to make what you call it that they put out now. I'm not so familiar with it. live video and what TikTok too, or whatever you call it, on all of those things.
A TikTok too.
TikTok too was a scratch they sell from Lotto, but what they do on the thing is TikTok, right? TikTok. So I'm getting my facts a little tied up here, but it's Miss Duncan and her presence. She's back. I'm not nervous.
I'm doing that too.
But just her presence have me not concentrating as well as I should. And for the purpose of the listeners understanding what I'm saying, she went out of her way to dress up really nice today.
That is not
I mean, she
true.
always looks nice, but I'm telling you, really, really nice, so she can, just take my attention away. But be that as it may, Miss Duncan, and thank you. I know you're trying to make me happy. But the issue of COVID is a real serious one.
It is.
It is something that we have been saying repeatedly. Let us take it on seriously. And there was a lot of people that were, what are you about? What the government does, and we don't have it. But the people who have been given the responsibility to lead Grenada through this period and beyond it have been taking from the international community the information that sometimes we don't get.
Yeah.
The updates, the briefings that the ordinary man in the street don't hear from CARFA and from WHO and from PAHO and so. They don't speak to us. PAHO don't know my number. Nobody in PAHO calls me. Nobody in the World Health Organization speaks to me, but they speak to Minister Steele. They would speak to Prime Minister Mitchell. They will speak to Dr. Sean Charles, and the people who matters in those issues. And they, in turn, will sit and discuss and take the necessary steps, put the necessary protocol in place as they get the updates.
Absolutely.
And we sometimes fail to realize, some of us, so to speak, that these are the people we need to be listening and taking our cue from. Instead, we go on Facebook, we go where and listen to people just labba in their mouth and making videos on all kind of foolishness, excuse me, that they have no clue about, and just creating panic and make people start thinking all funny things, and they have all kind of theory about why you shouldn't wear masks and all sort of things without any credible medical backings to show that what they're saying makes sense. Or they might have read something someplace. Or some other person from some other country, some other place, put something up.
Yeah.
And they're gone and they take it. And like that, it becomes gospel.
Yeah.
And the people who should know, and the people who are placed in the position to advise us and to guide us, we dismiss what they say. We always come on and, what they're saying is lie. The minister don't know what he's talking about. But do you know? What do you know? What is your alternative? How comes you're better than him when he or she is getting information, as we say in local terms, straight from the horse's mouth?
Absolutely.
Yeah? So I'm saying, Ms. Duncan, like you did, it took or had to take an outbreak like we're having now, a cluster of people coming down with the illness, double what we had for months. We were thinking that we were sailing safe and okay. But the authorities continue to caution us, listen, as long as our borders remain open and people are coming in and going out, and there will be some level of transmission, we are going to do everything possible. They are going to put the protocols in place to make sure that test is being done. And as we have seen, if we have been following up, there were constant revision. I recalled in the very early days when the borders just opened, and it was the same local people after the lockdown that was calling on the authorities to open up, was saying that the relatives were trapped whether in the US or in London or Canada. It's time to open up. It's time for them to come back home. The people want to come home. And they did, with a certain level of caution. And they did say, well, we're opening up, but when you come, you must spend 14 days in quarantine. Do you remember that?
I remember.
14 days. And that became an issue. Well, if we want to come to see our family and we can only get 2 weeks off, by the time we spend 14 days in quarantine, we just had to come back. And they said, well, if you can't afford more than 14 days, well, maybe you should wait until you can, because we're not going to compromise on that. But as more information became available, there was a change from 14 down to 7 days, I think it was. And then they were saying, listen, you must, because in the very early days, it was not mandatory that you get tested before you come. But when they dropped the amount of days in quarantine, they said, look, you must get a test that must be done within 7 days before you travel. But more information and trying to make it easier for people to move in and out, for commerce to happen, for the economy to open back up, for people to continue to get jobs, because you're doing your best to save lives by hoping that people will not contract the virus. But you also have to make sure that livelihoods are secured. Because if you have life and you cannot sustain your life, then you're as much as dead.
You know, Mr. Bola, I've been listening to and of course following everything that's been happening, and I remember very early when the borders were being closed and the clamor and the noise as to why we were doing it and why is it necessary. And then I remember when the borders opened and the cry, oh, why are we opening the borders if we want to kill everybody? And I know now that the borders are open, now we have people saying, oh, why we don't close the borders again? And it brings back into perspective the fact that you are not running a government to please all of the people all of the time.
Well, you want to please all of the people, but you won't.
You can't.
You just can't. You can't
please all of the people all of the time. But what you must do is to ensure that whatever decisions you make in the essence of good governance, it protects all of the people, and not just their lives, but their livelihood. And I remember saying to someone just recently that unless you are placed in a situation where your income, where your livelihood has been directly affected by the closing of the borders, then you don't know what it feels like to have the borders closed. All you know is that a plane in coming in, woo, good for that. I could go to work in the morning, come and sit down in my chair, and I talking to the general public, good as gold, and at the end of the month I collect a salary. But guess what? There are people who, for months, and still continue to be affected by the fact that the borders were even closed in the first place. And then what are we going to do? Are we going to sit down and say that we are going to continue closing our borders forever in the event of an outbreak here, an outbreak there? We have to make prudent decisions. We have to make decisions that are meant to protect livelihood. Lives and livelihood, but livelihood as well. Because we are going to be in a situation where we close our borders for too long and our economy suffers. And then there would be a different clamor from the people. Oh, we suffering, we see in trouble, we can't work, we need government to give us X and Y and Z. And that is what it is going to be. So there has to be a balance. And that is what people have to understand. There must be a balance. And unless you are placed in a situation where you are directly affected, where your livelihood, where your life, where your salary, your income, your day-to-day activity has been directly affected by the closing of the borders. And I don't feel that you have a right to really speak on that, to really ask for it, because you are asking for it out of fear, but there are people who really need it to survive.
Yeah, well, we can't be selfish in those situations. Yeah. I think that's one of the things. And government has a massive responsibility and task on their hand. They have to look and take care of everybody. It's not just a sector. You see, government role and responsibility is not just for the agricultural sector or the fisheries sector or the tourism sector or the education sector or the seniors or the youths. Government has a responsibility for everything that happens in this country and for every citizen. Irrespective if you like or dislike them, you voted for the present administration or not, it is their responsibility morally and otherwise to look after you. So as you've said, they will make decisions based on information that is credible and suitable. Yeah. And they will discuss and have lengthy discourse time and time again. They will seek advice. But whatever decision is taken, it will be one in which they hope and believe that the majority within understanding that whatever you do, there are going to be some fallout with some people. Mm-hmm. So you close, some people are going to be happy, some people will not be happy. You open, some are going to be happy, some won't be happy. Yeah. But you have to balance it, as you say, and understand what is best. What can we do now at this time? Yeah. That protection of lives is it's uttermost, it's ultimate. The ultimate thing is to protect the lives of the Grenadian people. But as you attempt to, and you put the procedures and the protocols in place for the containment of the virus, for the protection of the lives, you at the same time have to see how can livelihoods continue, meaning how can people continue to do their job? Because it is as a result of people working and the wheels of the economy starting to roll again. That is how government itself will get the resources it needs to do all of the things that we expect them to do.
Absolutely.
So we want our roads repaired. We want scholarship for our children. We want the schools repaired and to get furniture. The Ministry of Health needs money because we have to control and get PPEs for the frontline workers, as well as the testing kits so that we can test everybody whom we suspect. When I heard last week, I think it was last Friday, that the minister said with that cluster that they believe had started in Sandals, that over 2,000 people, 2,000 people had already received tests, and that they continue to contact trace and to be testing, and in the week to come, meaning this week, they expect a lot more to be done. Now, for everyone that get tested, that's $400+ I understand, to administer one test.
That so, they don't have to pay. Let's make that very clear.
That's the thing.
That they don't have to pay. Government has to foot that cost.
Yes, and you borrow my pen this morning. You didn't give me back.
You have a next one, man.
What the point I want to make is, I want the public to know that government has to continue to get that kind of money to ensure that it happens, right? But I'm trying to calculate quickly.
And why you didn't just tell me, look, a whole calculator on the computer? I cannot understand.
But you know, I get so used to not using these things and so we looking at what that is now? It's 80,000, not
820,000.
Well, I didn't put the point something because
410 times 2,000.
I didn't show 400 and how much. So I was going by 400. You see?
Right. Yeah.
But you went 410. So you got it. Yeah. So far, for 2,000 people, because of that cluster, 820,000, and that is only for the test.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the cost of transportation. That doesn't include payment for the health wardens who have to go out and find. That doesn't include maybe credit, because you have to be calling people to find them. You have to go to where you think they may be and all those other things. We didn't put that. So if we just round up roughly, we can say, just off our heads, without having all of the details and facts, that so far, government would have expended $1 million already.
In just that cluster.
That cluster. Now imagine that twice or three times that amount of people get contaminated.
Yeah.
Yes? And that doesn't include the fact that from the affected ones, the positive ones, some may get so sick that they may have to get to a hospital.
Yeah.
They may have to be isolated. They may have to go on oxygen. And what you call it, there is something else. The ventilator and all of that. These things come with a cost. This is more pressure on the health system. But where does the government get the money from to do all of those? So if every sector in the society is locked down, if everything in the country is put on hold, the borders closed, there are no buses running, there's no supermarkets open, wholesale and retail locked down, farmers can't sell what they have, everybody now looking to government for a handout. Because I'm not working. Even though I have little fruits and vegetables, I can't sell anything. The shopkeeper can't make nothing, so he too looking for a handout.
Right.
The wholesale man with the little van that goes around, he looking for a handout too, because he has goods, but it's there in his storeroom. He can't turn it over. We still have to pay for electricity. And now Wassa must still get the bill because they continue to pump water even though there is COVID.
Yeah.
So people sometimes have to sit down and understand why sometimes it is necessary for government to make some of the decisions. We may not necessarily agree with them. We may have a different idea. We may feel maybe they should have done it this way or that way. that is fine. But do not go about pretending that we know and we have the answers for all of this problem and that we can do better. Because given the chance, most of us who open up our mouth and speak loud and bold and make videos and say all kind of things, give them the chance. Put them in the seat of the Prime Minister for 1 week and we're not sure that we would even survive the entire week. Because the kind of atrocious decisions they may make.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to be in it, put your name up.
But
when an election then comes around,
you have to be in it to win it.
Go out there, convince the people that you can do better, that you have more ideas than the Honorable Keith Mitchell and his cabinet, that healthcare will do better, that the jobless people will soon find jobs. And if you can convince the people, they may well give you a chance. But let's stop before you come in, Ms. Duncan. Let's stop this foolishness. It really aches me when you go on some of these social platforms and you see and you hear the kind of statements that some people are making.
Shamelessly so, eh?
I mean, not making an effort to say, well, you know what, maybe we have joked around with this thing for long enough, and now I see what it's really doing. My colleagues, my friends, you know, let's wise up. Let's start doing what we're supposed to do. Let's see how we can bit this thing together. And then when you're finished, and we know we have cleared, or this country is cleared from COVID, you can go back to your old ways of taking everything. But COVID is too serious
for us to take.
And it's for us to be joking about it like that.
Yeah.
For us to think, well, this doesn't make sense and that doesn't make sense, and who doing that? Who bothering with Keith Mitchell and who bothering with Nicola Steele? And you know, why you ain't going to do this and what? I mean, come on, people. I know we are sensible. We have better sense of reasoning than the way some of us are behaving. This is not about politics. This is not campaigning.
Yeah.
This is about trying to protect lives. I mean, now that Sanders have announced that they're going to close until sometime in February, close to 500 people, over 400 people are back on the breadline again.
Absolutely.
So whether it started there, whether they have dropped the ball or not, and the minister had promised that there'd be an investigation, and I really do hope that the investigation will be soon, it will be swift, but it will be thorough.
Yeah.
And we would know, hopefully, with proper investigation, where things went wrong, who was at fault. I know Sandals put out a statement, fine. They need to protect themselves and their brand. But the minister and the government have said, look, we have not cut any corner. We have not given anyone any preference over another. So let's get those things done, but let's stick together as a people and fight this thing. Ms. Duncan, you have a call that seems to be an overseas call.
I see that. So let me take that call quickly. It's going to be our first call for the morning as well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan. Welcome back.
Hi, good morning. You're just a little bit low, Mr.
Extremely.
I'm not hearing you quite clear.
Yes, we miss you. It seems like it was forever.
Yeah,
Mr. Bola.
If it's the connection or the
you
phone.
would have to either try calling us back or increasing the volume of your phone, because we're having a very difficult time hearing you.
Okay, I'll try calling back.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry.
Careful, Mr. Bola, and I'm watching you.
Okay, keep your eyes on me. I'm not having any. I feel very well. Although that cannot
exactly not an indication at all, and not a comforting one either. But Mr. Bola, you are absolutely right, and I've taken time to look at a lot of the different noises that's been going on in the market, and I want to appeal to the people that it is important to take your advice and your information from the relevant authorities, and we'll get back to that. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Ms. D. I was just saying welcome back. Seems like it was forever. You're done.
No, I wasn't gone forever. I'm hoping that the general public is hearing you, but I am having a hard time hearing you still.
I'm getting you loud and clear.
Turn up our volumes here and see if that's not the problem.
No, our volumes are fine.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
All right, well go ahead. I'm hearing you a bit.
All right, Mr. Bola, good morning to you too.
Good morning. I'm hearing you very faint. I turning up my volume on my headphone now and see as well. I don't know.
Mine is all the way up.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was just calling to say I sympathize with that rise with the positive tests we've been having.
Yes.
But something I want to draw to attention. Remember the old people say when the neighbor house is on fire?
Oh,
Yes.
What
Wet
you do?
yours.
Yes.
Right, you throw water on yours.
Yes.
And I was listening past programs from Grenada, and I was a bit surprised and appalled. You know, it's like we are thumping our chest that we was like above it all, and we was doing so good, you know. But the thing about it, COVID doesn't have a target. It's like a blind man swinging. You know, a game that the Spanish folks play with the stick beating the what do you call it, the pinada?
Yes.
Pinada or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that, and I think that we've been like blaming other people and blaming the Americans for the way that they stand up for the freedom, even though it is something that's been going crazy. So I don't think that we've been having that clear understanding again with the population of the Americans. The way the system of the government operates is far different to how Grenada government operate and run. The government of Grenada could get to the cabinet and pass the rules and say, okay, we shut down everything.
Yes.
Here, the president can't do that.
Right.
He could say certain things, but the governors of the states have the final decision.
Right.
And we don't understand that, and we throw them out and we make so much of a thing, you know, sarcastic remarks. But we all in this together. It's a global something, and we all in it together. We got to pray for one another, hold one another accountable, and fight it together. So I want to say again, you know, bless you all. Have a great day, a wonderful good morning, and a wonderful and happy Christmas. That we can celebrate the true meaning of Christmas with the joy and the spirit of Christmas, so that will pull us through this pandemic.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day. Love you all.
Thank you, and stay safe. Enjoy your holidays.
Yes. I'm still trying to get myself acclimated with this boredom, Mr. Bola. I've been gone for too long, maybe. That's what that's what happened. but you know, he's absolutely right. It is our responsibility to really find. You know, it's easy to find fault in someone else. It's easy to pinpoint that, you know, this person did something wrong or that person did something wrong, and it's probably not. You're probably not wrong that they did something that was wrong, or they did something that contributed to. But what we are not very good at is identifying what our role is in the situation. You know, I listened to the both addresses by the Prime Minister and also by the Minister of Health. And in everything that I gathered when going back to Facebook, all I saw were people saying, hey, and they're trying to blame us, in none of the messages did I hear them say that this is fault of the people of Grenada. All I heard, which is what we all really should be doing, is an appeal to the people to follow the protocols. And there is nothing wrong with that. And it is not saying that they have not been following the protocols or they're not doing a good job at following the protocol, but a further appeal for those who are not. You know, sometimes you throw sprat to catch whale. You know, you throw it out there so the people who are actually not doing what they're supposed to do can hear you and can pull up their socks. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Miss Duncan. Welcome back.
Hi, good morning.
Mr.
Thank
Bola,
you.
good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for calling.
I congratulate you on your the presentation of the budget on the Senate, you know.
Thank you, my dear.
I feel really impressed, and there was a lot of institutional memories, you know.
Okay, great.
Concerning agriculture sector and farmers, you know. And I hope we take it in high consideration. Mr. Bola, when you started the program, you started speaking about the people coming in from abroad, right?
Yes.
And we were talking about a little history there about where we started, the 14 days, then we moved to the 7 days and what have you. And then something and then Miss Duncan came in and then you switch a little bit. So I just want you to go back on that.
Oh, right, and finish that. Yes, yes.
Because it's different times now, and with the amount of contact tracing and testing that I know the Ministry of Health is undertaking, people might be, feeling that, I'm in the quarantine long and we're not hearing and so on. So, I believe they should be patient, and I know the government is working hard to remedy that situation. So, and if you could go back there a little bit,
I certainly can, my dear.
I'm looking forward to hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, the caller made a good point, because we were just breaking down how, in trying to adhere to the concerns that people have, about how long they have to spend in quarantine. The ministry eventually then, I think the last update they put out said, look, instead of having now to do a test 7 days before you arrive, do it within 72 hours, within 3 days, yes? Make sure it's negative, then you can come. They cut out the testing at the airport, but say, listen.
In some instances.
Some instances.
Because if you come, even though your test is negative, but you are exhibiting symptoms of the virus, they will test you.
They will test you, yes, because the medical people are there.
Yes.
But you come with a negative. But they made sure to say that you will have to spend a minimum, and that word is important, of 4 days in quarantine.
I think it's 7 days now, a minimum of 7.
They have brought it back up to 7, right? And the thinking behind it, based on the science, is that, look, if you do a test before you left wherever your destination is, within 3 days before you left, but contracted the virus, so you got a negative, but you contracted the virus somewhere after you test, and
within that 72 hours.
Right, getting onto the aircraft, come to Grenada. There's a strong possibility that when you arrive here and you are tested, you may not show up positive because of what they say, the viral load in your system
is not
enough to show up in a test.
Right.
Hence the reason they say you must go to quarantine, even if you come with a negative.
Yeah.
So 3 to 4 days after, which would give you at least 6 days.
Yeah.
If you would have caught the virus after you did your first test, within 5 to 6 days, the average person will show up positive if they have the virus. There are still some people who it takes much longer. There are some people, as they call them, asymptomatic, that will never show up. Even if you keep them 14 days. They have the virus and they can contaminate others, but they won't show up. So the ministry has been working and has been shifting its protocol and procedures based on the health science that comes out about the virus.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do an update, Grenada, to make it as safe as they possibly can for everyone. So when I hear our own people talking about, well, the ministry had 2 standards, or Sandals had 1 standard, where did that come from? And we heard the minister quite clearly. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing we need to know, and maybe sometimes people talk out of ignorance, not having all of the information, and maybe we need to speak about things even more than we're doing it.
And sometimes it's just bad-mindedness, Mr. Bola.
Of course, that is part of it too. We can't rule that out, but that's a very small percentage of people that does that. I
but
think
they are the loudest percentage.
They are the loudest, but maybe it's a small percentage. And I think what we have to aim to do is get people to understand and remember, listen to the official information. Ministry of Health, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Health. Because everybody else just want to say what they want. And as you have put in, Ms. Duncan, some out of bad-mindedness, because I oftentimes ask the question, we need to ask ourselves, why would Tom do this? Yeah. Why did Harry say that?
Yes.
Was it because he was misinformed? Was it because he doesn't know better? Was it because the information didn't reach him? Or was it because he just wanted to be cruel, wicked, and play politics and to make the government look bad?
And what does he hope to gain?
And what does he hope to gain?
We have a call on the line. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning. I want to make a contribution to Miss Duncan and Mr. Bola.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes, we're listening.
Good morning.
Hi, morning.
what I'm saying that the people who are still in the Grenadian people don't wear no mask. All they need to play back it general public to hear because they mislead the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So you all need to play it back.
Yeah, we're hearing you. We hear you. That makes a lot of sense.
Caller, I realize you're listening to us on whatever device it is you have the program playing.
You need to expose them because that's all. This is a thing they're accustomed doing, and
Listen to us on the phone because there is a delay.
Anyhow, welcome back, Ms. Duncan, and you, Mr. Bola. You all have a happy Christmas.
Well,
All right,
thank
you
you, and we
too.
wish you the very, very best for the Christmas season too. Stay safe and stay secure.
All right, we have another caller on the line. It's the WhatsApp line. Let me see if I can get that. He seems to want to answer this morning. Hi, good morning.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Yes, is this Hard Talk?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm hearing you quite distant.
All right,
Are you hearing me clearly?
loud and clear? We're hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, I arrived at Morris Bishop International on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my PCR done 3 days prior.
Mm-hmm.
When I arrived, I also had a PCR because I'm doing home quarantine. And hopefully tomorrow, which will be the 4th day, I'll have my second PCR test.
Mm-hmm.
But what concerns me a great deal is that I've been paying close attention since I left the airport. And I've been looking at the bus drivers and people on the bus, and they do have on a mask, yes, but the mask is under their nose.
Under the chin, most of the time.
And quite frankly, this scares the hell out of me. Because if you are to wear your mask under your nose, you might as well not wear a mask.
Yes.
Because, for example, if someone has COVID, okay, they are considered the reservoir. Now, the reservoir has to have a port of exit.
Yes.
And there must be a mode of transmission. So let's say someone has COVID, they're not wearing any mask, they sneeze, they cough. Okay, that's a port of exit. Now, an innocent bystander or somebody going about their business without a mask also, they become a mode of transmission.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So quite frankly, I can't wait for my protocol or whatever to be over for me to go back where I come from, because I'm telling you, and I have been speaking to people on the phone since I returned here, and I'm telling you, most of them are not wearing masks, and they do not see the need to wear masks.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what I've seen with my own 2 eyes. Nobody told me, apart from what the person told me on the phone. They are wearing the mask under their nose. Some are not even wearing masks. Some do not see the need. And I'm going to say that I'm not saying this goes to everybody. It's not for everybody. But I've seen a lot from the time I left the airport to where I'm here now. I'm telling you, it scares the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. It's scary, and it is scary. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution, caller, and a very, very passionate contribution. And it goes back to what we are saying. When they speak about following the protocols, it's not a direct hit at everybody in Grenada, but it is a hit at the people who are not following the protocols. These people do exist. You know, we can't just say that because a large number of the population, or because you and I decide we're wearing our mask, that when the Minister of Health or when the Prime Minister goes on public radio or TV and says, please follow the protocols, wear your mask, it means that he's speaking directly to us. No, he's speaking to the people, Tom, Dick, and Harry down the road, who decided that they are above the protocols, that they are above the new National Party administration, that they ain't gonna listen to nothing that's going on, and they are not going to wear their mask. Those conspiracy theorists who believe that it is not safe for you to be wearing your mask, these are the people that are being spoken to. If you fall in your pot, What you taking it up for? You understand?
Who the cap fit?
Let them wear it.
Yeah, man. You draw the string.
So I wanna make that point because I've seen a lot of comments on social media trying to state that the government has been blaming the people of Grenada for the outbreak and so on. And I've been waiting for the opportunity to address it. You know, I spent a couple days in quarantine, Mr. Bola. I want to empathize with the people. I want to empathize with the people who spend their 14 days without noise, honestly. Because trust me, it's a difficult thing to do, to spend 14 days in isolation. I'm telling you.
I hope they had to keep you for 21 days.
We have another call on the line. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh no, we seem to have lost that call. But Mr. Bola, it's a process, and I want to give from my own personal experience. You know, sometimes you speak about things based on the protocols, you try to break it down and make sense of it, but then you experience it, so you know. And I remember coming from Barbados, we took our test 72 hours before, my daughter and I. We could not board the aircraft unless we had it. They asked us at the airport when we went to check in. Okay, you are required to have your negative.
It is mandatory if you're traveling to Grenada
to have your
you
test.
must have a negative PCR test. Or else they won't. And I explained that to some people the last time. So they were telling me, how people go to Sanders and they didn't have no test. I said, but which aircraft did they travel on?
They must test before.
Because the airlines will not take you on board if you do not have it, because it's mandatory from the Ministry of Health in Grenada that you do.
Absolutely. And let me give you another example. When we were coming, there was a gentleman on the airport, himself and his daughter, who probably did their test the Saturday. They received, and they did not receive their results. When they got to the airport, could not board the aircraft.
No, they
had to stay on the airport. They missed that flight because they did not have all of the necessary documents to travel. So they even asked us on the airport if we filled out the that immigration form. Well, not the immigration form, the form that we have to fill out to get clearance. The online form. They even ask you that. We boarded the plane. We got to Grenada very orderly, very organized. They sat us down, gave us the information that we have to fill out. Then we were Mr. Bola, I swear I gave my telephone number and address about 4 times on the airport in 4 different stops on the airport. And this is just to deal with contact tracing and all of that. So we had to have our test oncoming. When we got here, and this is my personal experience, and I don't want to say that is the standard because someone else may experience something different when they get into quarantine. But when I got into quarantine, the following day, I got a call from the Ministry of Health indicating, okay, XYZ, this is your name, this is the name of your daughter, you are in home quarantine, a nurse will come to your house on Thursday, which is the 4th day, to ensure that you are tested again before you can be released, and you have to wait for your results before you are released. These things were explained to me via phone call, right? And I must say, she did also indicate that because of the current circumstances, she is uncertain if the nurse is going to come in the morning or if she's going to come in the evening. And she explained all of these things to me. Very well put together, I must say. On Thursday, I did not receive a call back from the Ministry of Health, but the nurse did call me. The nurse herself that was coming to do the test called me so she could get directions as to where to come. And I took a video of the of the test, and I posted it to social media simply because I wanted people to see that this is no easy task. Taking a PCR test is no fun and games. You know, it is not a good thing. It's not a good feeling. You know, so you don't want to just go out there all willy-nilly and say, you know what, if I get COVID, they'll come and test me, I'll be asymptomatic and everything is going to be fine. It is not all fun and games, you know. And then I did not get my results in 24 hours, but I understood the situation. I got my results the Saturday afternoon. Now, there are individuals who came in before and they communicated with me, so I know this, who did not receive their results on time or still have not received their results as yet. And that, of course, has to do with the fact that now we are doing even more testing than before. We are doing even more contact tracing than before. So, of course, it's going to take a little longer than is expected.
There'll be a build-up now.
Yeah, and I mean, we're asking for patience, you know. understanding that it's a very difficult thing to be in quarantine for some and very expensive for others as well, because you have to pay for quarantine. So we're not negating that fact, but an understanding as well is expected. So when you are planning your trip to Grenada, take all of these things into consideration before you plan your trip. Don't think you're going to come and it's going to be all easy and then you're going to make a couple posts on social media and then everything is going to go your way. It doesn't work that way for everybody. So we have to be careful. I see a call was coming on the WhatsApp, but we missed it, so I'm going to look for it again. But Mr. Bola, we have to be careful and we have to make sure that when we're taking information, we take it from the right sources. I have seen so many wannabe media personalities and wannabe media houses pop up here, there, and everywhere. Now everybody have a media page on social media, and everybody wants to be responsible for bringing the news first. And sometimes the news that you bring, either it's wrong, it's misleading, all of the facts are not involved. So people are anxious. Anxieties are high, and we have to be absolutely careful of that when we are sharing information. Make sure you get all the facts. Make sure you get both sides of the story. Make sure that your reporting is not biased when you are reporting, so that when you actually report something, that you report information that is credible, information that people could bet their bottom dollar on, information that is not meant to make the population sway left or right, but to let people think or to actually inform them on what is going on so that they themselves can make informed decisions. And that is really the plea that I want to make. Because here and there you're hearing, they don't explain anything properly, so you hear people saying, we have 90-something new cases. Not understanding that it's probably that in total from the beginning of the pandemic to now. Or, and I'm just giving a random figure, not saying that is how much that it is. But we have to be very, very careful. You see media personalities or journalists wanting on and I mean, it's your personal page, nobody can tell you what to post. But there must be...
People can advise you, because if what
they can advise you, but they can't tell you.
Yeah. Well, in advising, you're telling, but they can't make you do it. Mm-hmm. So, they advise you by telling you.
By telling you. And, when you do these things, what you're doing is putting Grenadians on high alert for no reason. And then you see people thinking all sorts of nonsense, going and panic buy, as we call it, and doing all sorts, and risking their own lives.
Of getting, because then you're having crowds and you're having them being in a jam-packed thing.
Yeah.
And, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But we do have a caller. Let's take that caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning, dear.
And how are you, sir?
I'm very well this morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. Thank God for that.
Yes, and welcome back,
Miss Duncan.
She's Miss Duncan still, yes. Yeah, she ain't reach Miss Bola yet. Don't go to Miss she ain't reach that yet.
You're telling me?
No, we have plans, but,
We have?
Yes.
Look, she wasn't even sure about it.
No, well, she didn't know about it yet. I wanted to break it to her on Christmas Eve as she Christmas,
Okay.
package. But since you bring it up, I say it's okay for tell her.
Wow, will I be invited?
Of course. We can't leave you out.
Yes. I wanted to say good morning to the very first caller. And I just want him to stay safe. May God's richest blessing on him. And that goes to Mr. Bola and Miss Duncan also, and the Grenadians by and large.
Yes.
Okay? All you take care.
Thank you, darling.
And have a blessed day, Mr. Bola.
Mm-hmm.
The beans are going fine.
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to
you
hear.
Take care.
All right.
Be good.
Welcome again, Miss Duncan.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Stay safe, eh?
We will.
You be safe as well. Take good care. And you yourself and your family enjoy the holiday seasons.
All right.
Safe and secure.
You all too.
Yes.
All right.
Everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Duncan, just to touch a little bit on what that caller who spoke about the observation, but we do have another call coming in.
We do.
We really need to do better. Buses and those of us on buses and those of us who think by putting it under our chin so that, in case the police is there. I keep making that point. Why do we have to continue operating as though we are slaves?
Yeah.
We must have something on our shoulder, somebody on our back for us to do what is proper. Anyway, let's take the call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome back to Grenada.
Yes, it's good to be back.
So all the trip.
It was good. It was good.
Okay, that's wonderful, man. Yeah, Mr. Grant, like Mr. Bora said just now, when the government and the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization give us information, people don't believe it. They say they lie. But the expert, the real source, so getting information from the real source, you don't believe in it. But people who have no knowledge of what is going on, you believe in it. Like this morning, on my way to work, I stopped to buy something for my young man. And you're telling me the government that misleading can tell people the coronavirus and they're none. So I'm asking the question. Okay. Let's say like in the event that the coronavirus is here, but you have a family, right? You go out and you expose yourself. Where are you going back? You're going back to your home. So if you believe, if you don't believe what the government is saying, or you don't care, I remember to care about the family. So I say to prevention is better than cure. So let leave it open. That is, you don't show, but make sure you wear your mask. Protect yourself. Alright, so when you do that, you can protect your family. But when you say that there's nothing there and you go out and you catch it, you're going back home to your family. So then you have to care about the family. You have to care about the neighbors. And when you care about people, you're going to do the right thing to protect people's lives.
Yeah.
Protect people's lives. So, Mr. Bola, I want to say you did a wonderful job as a senator. Because I know they say all broom knows all the corners.
Is
and
that
you do
so?
an excellent job. I listen to you. I just thought it was lovely.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
So, Mr. Bola, Ms. Duncan, you all have an enjoyable, happy Christmas. I wish you and your family a bright and prosperous New Year when New Year reach. Thank you.
Well, we thank you too, and we hope for the best for you as well.
Okay,
Safe and secure. Happy Christmas and a blessed New Year.
Okay.
All right. Have a good day now. Great.
All right. So, Mr. Bola, it's and you're right. We do have to do better as a people. And as the caller did say, as she rightfully said, there are people who are not following the protocols, who are cutting corners and bending trees and peeping behind branches to see where they can break a protocol here and for what reason, I would never understand.
Well, thinking that they're smart and they can outsmart the authorities, and I don't see any reason. As a matter of fact, the police should not even have to be called in.
Yes.
This thing is for our own good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the police has the responsibility and the duties for enforcement and so, but we should be as smart enough as a people,
of course,
to pull up on each other.
Of course.
So I'm not wearing my mask, or I'm not sanitizing, or I'm not keeping my distance. My friends should say, hey, pal, you know, this thing is important, this thing is serious. Why aren't you doing this? Why? We should not wait until the police get into play. We should not wait until we're getting a ticket and being charged. I mean, a lady reported to me. Well, I shouldn't say reported. It doesn't sound right. We were having a conversation,
right.
And she then said to me, she said, you know, we really something else in this country, you know. I said, why would you say that? She said she was traveling on a bus that was heading into St. George's. Mm-hmm. And there were people in the bus, and a lot of them didn't have one mask, who had it on under their chin and so. And the heating now coming down before you reach Tempe by default. Sometimes there's a police officer there. Someone is calling again. Let's take it. Did we lose them? And when they reach there, they just heard the driver say, "Mask up, everybody." Put on the mask. I mean, it sounds jokey, but good morning, caller. Did we take it yet?
Yes.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to Hard Talk. Hello.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Kabola.
How are you, sir?
Ade?
You there good?
Yeah, I'm holding on.
Well, why not? Why not?
Holding on.
Why not?
What a topic did this morning? Something nice, man.
Well, we have to talk about the issues there because we see what is happening, we know what is happening, and we really have to encourage people, those who are not doing it, to do it because it's for their benefit and for our benefit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because if I am not wearing, and I am positive, but you are wearing, even if I sneeze or cough in your face, most likely you will be safe.
it limits.
I have it on.
Right, but if you don't have one as well,
I must get that.
that's the thing. So when the government say and the ministry say, please wear it, they mean you have it. They mean to protect yourself from getting it.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask a question.
Go ahead, sir.
How many cases we have in this country here?
Active cases now, those who are active, I am not totally sure because they're doing a lot of testing still. The last number I know it was in the 40s. I think it was 44. You think you could pull it up on the screen?
It was 44, I think, and we had
and they
13.
They got some more.
Yeah.
So it might be about 57 now. Active cases
Yeah.
from the last cluster, as they call it. But if you add that to what we had before, those who get better and everything to say how much cases Grenada had, and she's pulling it up. Now we'll soon get to Grenada on the screen. Where is Grenada?
We all the way down here. So we're at 103.
That's overall 103 cases from the time it started to now.
54 active.
And there are 54 active ones presently.
Right, and 49 recovered. So 103.
So if somebody asks you how much cases Grenada ever had, if nothing happens again, it would be 103. 49 of those has recovered already. They don't have it anymore. And 54 presently.
Yeah, because you have some NDC I don't meet up in Tongue and they're dangerous, you know.
Well, how you know they are NDC?
I know. Mr. Bola.
Yes, sir.
An NMP and an NDC tag different.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
And you don't know them.
Yes.
Okay.
Because anytime you're talking to them positive,
yes,
they just vex.
They don't get vexed. Okay. Yeah. And that's the same thing the lady saying is at the studio here. Like you
just vex.
I know them. I don't meet them up where I don't line in tongue.
Okay.
And you know I'm not afraid of them.
No, I know that. I know that part.
Drop it on them.
I know that part.
Yeah, so I don't drop it on them. So, Mr. Bola, I will call you after the program.
Good, my brother.
I will call you after the program because you say you have to find out something for me.
Oh, yes, but I didn't send it to you. So call me in truth and then I'll give you.
Yes, I will call you after the program.
Right.
So, Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you and many happy returns to you and your family.
Yeah, you and Miss Duncan.
All right. Stay safe, my brother. Stay safe.
Yeah. Take care.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Remember I told you that the other day, before I left, my friend and I were walking in Tongue and she said, that man is at NDC. I said, oh, how you know? She said, you just know them when you see them, they always vex.
Oh. Well, I don't know if I can judge people by that because I smile to everybody I meet. Whether they smile back or not, I don't take note of that. But, you know, it's good for the little side joke. But it's important, really important for our people. Those of us who see this thing as just a joke.
Yeah.
You know, someone posted up a little while ago that they take it for a joke until they catch it themselves.
Yeah.
You know? The issue is they may catch it, you know? That was it. You just moved from it. I was going to read it anyway.
If I could find it again, I hope.
It's okay that not that one, no. That they take it as a joke. You had it on the side panel though, not where you're looking there.
Oh, right here.
Right there, yeah. They are too careless and ignorant until it happens to them. They will learn how deadly this virus is. So sad for the innocent ones. And that little part in the back, in the bottom there, that interests me a lot. The innocent
ones, yeah.
Because those of us who pretend that we are bionic, we are Superman, nothing could happen to me. I'm young, I'm strong, I'm brilliant, and this, whatever the sarcasm we add to it. Oh, there's no COVID and this, whatever. However we feel. When and if we catch it, maybe our immune system is strong enough to fight it. But the innocent people that you get in contact with, the little children that you go and raise and play with and kiss and do all of that, even though they advise that you shouldn't be doing that at this time, and touching their hands, and nice little baby, and nice, innocently, these are the ones that will suffer because they didn't put themselves out in the way to get it. You bring it for them.
You know, Mr.
Because
Bola,
of your silliness.
That touch, you know, that touch a nerve for me, eh? because my sometimes you look at a person and you think, as we often say, oh, children are they are less likely to get sick.
Mm-hmm. But they are getting sick
as
because
a result.
we sing the reports.
And sometimes you look at somebody and you say, that child's strong and healthy, man, they're going to make it through. But if it's one thing that my trip has taught me, it's that you never underestimate a situation. You never look at something and think, oh, well, that's just that.
Don't take things at face value.
You don't
all
ever
the time.
take it at face value, because there is always something a little more sinister underneath that's happening that you probably don't know about. And these are the things that you have to take into consideration. So when I speak about COVID-19 and I speak about the effects and I speak about following the protocols, I speak from a place of dire concern, because I know what that means for me and my family. I know what me contracting COVID-19 and bringing it into my household means for me and my family. And
you contracted it?
No, I know what it would mean.
Or what it would
what
mean.
It would mean.
Because when you say you know what it means, you give an impression there, because I'm just going to say, Lord have mercy. I have that thing too, because I mean, although we have a partition separating us here, if you should contract.
If I should, but I understand what that would mean for me and my family, and that really does scare me a lot. It makes me anxious. It makes me even more anxious than I was before. Before you're thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna give my children fruits, vegetables. We're gonna have a vitamin C, and we're gonna build our immune system, and everything is going to be great. And it's not. That's not the same story now.
Having said fruits and vegetables, from the onset when this pandemic came out, very early days, there was advice from the nutritionists that we should eat healthy, eat our colored foods, and so build our immune system, just in case, that would be strong and capable enough to help fight the virus. People just didn't take any of that serious at all.
At all.
Everyone took it just as a joke. We always say this thing, or most times we say this thing, this is Grenada. Bad things don't happen to Grenada. Bad things don't happen to Grenadians. And I think it is time that we come of age and recognize the seriousness and the impact, because this thing is not just about affecting your life,
Yeah.
I've heard people mention that for years to come, you would still feel the effect.
Yeah.
It's like chikungunya, and it's worse than chikungunya and Zika and so on. There are people who have contracted those flu-like illnesses, and up to today they tell you that they're still in pain, that the joints still hurt. Maybe not as bad as when they actually had the virus, but they're still in a lot of pain, And so we have to take this thing serious, because it also has an economic impact.
Yeah.
Because when you get sick and you can't work, your family suffers. What if you are the only breadwinner?
Yeah.
But worse, if you go out there, you behave careless, you don't wear your mask, you don't physically distance, you don't sanitize, you do nothing, you obey no protocol, you contract and you go home.
Yeah.
And your mother, who is senior, or your grandmother, your wife, your children. I mean, such as that household we heard about where some 13 people in that family, I don't know the size of the family. I mean, imagine in a family. Oh, let's just
even the
be
most recent one with 9.
Yeah, let's be hypothetical here and say that family has 15 people.
Right.
Right? I don't know. I'm just using that, and don't take me to court. If it's 14 and I say 15, or 17 and I say 15, we just saying hypothetically now. 15. 13 of these people contracted the virus, and they all got seriously ill.
Right.
And had to be hospitalized. What if the 2 that remain were underage? Who takes care of them?
Who takes care?
I mean, these are things that we have to consider even before they happen. Yeah. And having seen what has happened, we should become even more concerned. So I am yet to understand why some of us still believe. And I mean, the PSAs are there. The ministry has these public service announcements that tell you that the law says you need to once you live in your home.
Yeah.
It is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
They get all kind of artists. I heard the one from Venom up there, the other Talpuri with one saying that I'm masking up to save my family and I. Who are you prepared to save? Why aren't you masking up? Is it because you don't have family? I can't believe that. You are a nomad. Nobody cares about you, so you care about nobody else. And even if nobody shows you care and concern, you should at least show care and concern for another person.
We have another caller on the line. Let's take this call quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning, my dear, and how are you?
I am good. Welcome back, Ms. Duncan.
It's good to be back.
Mr. Bola, you did a wonderful presentation in the budget.
Well, that's what I keep hearing.
I know you're old stock.
I'm an old youth, I said. I didn't say old stock. I said I'm an old youth.
Well, so, let me tell you how a radio personality, that's how she call a person, refers to you as recycled material.
Well, I heard that, and I didn't respond to them, but somebody who said it to me, I said, look, at least recycled material has use. Refuse is what goes into the dump. So I'm happy to be recycled.
Right. Well, Mr. Bola, what I want to talk about this morning is this COVID situation, you know.
Yes.
Grenadians, you know what is strange? They keep blaming government, but none of them is taking responsibility. They're not following protocols. They're not doing what is supposed to be done. They keep saying, oh, the government is the one that brought the virus into the country. Do you think a government, any government, would like to be in a situation like this?
Not that I can imagine. No, my mind wouldn't stretch far enough for me to think about which government would want to do that.
You know, and the same people that keep blaming the government are the ones that saying they don't have confidence in the government, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have confidence in the government, then do what you're supposed to do to protect yourself and to protect your loved ones.
Absolutely.
You know, they're talking about, oh, the government say they love the people. No, the government don't love the people. How you have done all of this to try to help the people, to protect the people. Because the people looking at, you know, they're looking at the virus, they're looking at it as a simple thing. But the virus has affected many sectors of our lives.
Yeah.
It did not just, you may not get it, but it may affect your job. You know, it may affect your family. It may affect society. So somebody may not get the virus because all the people that are now unemployed, they didn't get the virus, but it affected them, you know? And so while the government is trying their best to see how they could protect the people, not just from the virus, but also from hunger and starvation. And we must congratulate the government on what they are doing and how they are handling the situation. We are not isolated, and we cannot lock down the country forever. For all the people that are saying to close it down, because when you close it down, the virus wouldn't come in. But what's going to happen? Some people would have to make up their minds to make soup kitchens for all the people that are going to go hungry.
Absolutely.
Because the government will never, no government would ever be able to sustain an economy and to keep hunger and starvation out of a country if the economy is failing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's happening in America. How many people are losing their homes? How many people are hungry? They are literally hungry.
Yeah.
You know, and with this cold, this winter thing that's coming in there now, you know, people are suffering, and Grenadians are just taking this thing for a joke. Mm-hmm. You know how much people in other countries that would like to be in Grenada right now, that would like to be enjoying what Grenadians are enjoying, but we are not taking this thing serious. And problems are going to occur, and they will still blame the government. They're not wearing their mask, and the government has been telling them to wear their mask all the time. Senator Bola, this would be a true test. This situation now would be a true test of the ministry and how they handling the situation. I mean, I really don't envy them, because Grenadians, even in this situation, they show that they are not willing to protect themselves and to protect their loved ones. So, Mr. Bola, it's not just the COVID affecting, infecting people, but COVID affecting people's lives, and people ought to know that, because the government cannot feed the nation if they have to lock down for a long period of time. Not forever, but for a long period of time. And people are going to go hungry, and they're going to blame the government because they are hungry. You see? So we have to sit down and think of what we really want in this country. So you, Mr. Bola, Senator Bola, and Ms. Duncan, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. You enjoy your day as well. Mr. Bola just had to step out of the studio to take a very important call. But the caller, you are absolutely right. We have to all understand our role in this. We have to all understand what we have to do. And our role is not, and when we say our role in this, it's not saying that we are all responsible for the current situation. It's our role in how do we now help to curb what has happened? How do we now help to deal with this situation and ensure that we stay on the straight and narrow path? We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
How are you? Welcome back.
Thank you.
You was missed.
Thank you. I missed you guys too.
Mr. Bola didn't cry when you come back?
No, he ain't crying now. He was too shocked.
I was never shocked. I'm just not a crying man.
He said he was never shocked. He's just not.
I'm not a crying man. Let me ask you a question, my friend. Do you like Jamaican music like I do?
Some of them, the Bob Marley.
The Bob Marley. Yes. So you're what they call old school, man. You're old school.
The Jim Reeves and
yeah. But I listen to all kind of Jamaican music, and they have a song for every single thing in life.
Yeah.
There's one that you must know. You know Barry's.
Barry's Harmon.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Very good.
Good guy.
Yeah. And he says, "Baby, what do you expect of me? Should I stand in the middle of the road, let something run over me?" Yeah? He said, "But I wouldn't cry to you, because crying is a sign of weakness." That's what Barry said.
Could you turn this studio into a recording studio?
Yeah. No, I'm not recording nothing for you.
Because you could.
I just try it.
Yeah, try it, man. Try it. Trust me. You have it there, though.
Yes.
All you have to do is to just refine it, maybe make the neck muscle stamp a little more.
I hear you. When I was young and in church, we were in the choir, and there was a lady who used to teach us to sing, and she said, "Oh, some of you voices need a little training," and he said, "Go home and keep repeating that and say it as fast as you can. Rice and peas is very nice, especially when you eat it twice. Rice and peas is very nice." She said I was to train. But stop saying rice and peas is very nice now, so my voice gone.
Then I just have some talent,
Yes.
I just have some talent.
I think we
I could tell you that I from St. David originally, but I lived in St. Andrew in Mount Castle area all my life.
Yes.
And we had a band. That's the Lottish people and the Caesars people and myself. We had this band but I used to be one of the vocalists.
Okay.
So we had intent to come out to the serious band, and because I like singing. And but the group broke up when nearly all the guys went to Canada and England.
Okay.
So I just ended all there. But I had intent, if I traveled over the last 15 years, it would be Canada. That's what I would have done, and I would get right into the singing.
Can you get the boys back together?
My age, I could do it if I want now, and get into the singing thing and so forth, because I like it. No, I listen to the issues, and I have to compliment the government for what they have done. They have done a fine job over the few months with this COVID there. But I can't hesitate to touch on our managerial system. I think that's where the biggest problem is coming from. We have to think long term. We're thinking too much short term because we have to see things from a distance. And I look at concept and imagination. Those two things, concept, imagination. You have to see things from a very long distance, and then you follow it right up to your face. That's when you actualize it to do it. And we were not good there. In government, in the private sector, yes. When I started work, I identified those things. I preached about it. Well, I get companies to change some of the strategies as it relates to marketing and sales, because that's what I used to be doing. And when I get into government, I did the same thing. I create the Central Growth Unit, and I also created the Central Growth Corporation, and I eventually had to leave where we had serious managerial problem there. I had to go back to the ministry, and that was the end of the Central Growth Corporation. As a matter of fact, the Canadians and American ambassador thought I was the manager, and nobody should manage this place because of the assessment of general manager and other people at my level, that they didn't have the competence. So they was qualified, they didn't have the competence to manage. Because management is about strategy, business is about strategizing, right? Dealing with the customers and strategy, strong strategy. Not the policy, because policy does really cause department to bust. Because policy must be rigid for defense in case, anything. But strategy is what causes a company or any group to succeed. Even the government, you will have a policy, but if you execute or institute your policy always, that's the policy. Until you're going down and down and down. You must have strategy which is flexible around your policy to succeed. And that's what we have to do. And I'm trying to sell this to everybody. So when I come on the radio, it's not about bashing anybody. I say it as it is. Yes, we're doing well, but we have to buck up on our managerial strategy or managerial competence. Because it's not waiting until something happens and then to act. You have to see it coming. For instance,
deal with it.
This sandals matter day. It should not occur. It should not occur. Sandals or no other establishment should be given the right to just receive people without going to the quarantine. You can't quarantine them in the unit because it will not work. They're not going to manage for you, the government. They're going to manage in the interest of the business. Allow the people to roam free now. That's what they're going to do. Except you put somebody governmental on the ground in the hotel to say, look, you're responsible for the control of these people here. But if you don't do that, it couldn't work. And so sometimes when I have to talk about Grenadians, we are trying. Grenadians have tried. They have really, really helped the government. Some people are determined, but the majority of us try to ensure that we keep this thing at bay. And when I hear people talk about trying to bash Grenadians and put so much pressure on them and call for charges and call for the security forces to apprehend, it hurts me because I know we are trying, people have tried their best, and in a situation like this, we did not cause. Remember, all the cases we had in Grenada, or the majority of cases, came from overseas. So that's why we did a good job, and if we spread internally, it's based on those which came in here. And so you can't really press Grenadians too hard. I will believe the public relation, because that is my thing, the public relation, don't care who you are, how hard you talk to me. I know soft answer, ton of a rat. So you could talk to me as hard as you want and harsh as you want. I'm going to be subtle, and I'm coming back at you in a peaceful, humble way, and to get people to change. Because it's about psyche. You have to change the psyche of people. And if you rough somebody, nice as they may be, they might just turn around. But if you go to them in a subtle, humble way, don't care how angry they might be, they'll say, oh, I see your way, and okay. I get those things going very often. They just stay in Grenada and do therapy overseas. I do therapy on the phone with people because it's about calming people and getting them to do the right thing, understanding and doing the right thing. So again, I don't want to be too long, but I want to compliment the government for keeping this thing at bay for the length of time. And I also want to compliment Grenadians for the cooperation, those of us who cooperated for the cooperation. There is much more we can do. But I'm also saying to the authorities, don't be too harsh. And so many people want the government to do harsh things. Please, don't buy into this. Take the very soft approach. bear with Grenadians, see how much you could soften them up to get them to follow the protocols, and let us see if we could keep this thing at bay, because it's not going to be over in a hurry.
Yeah.
There's a new strain in England that's creating a lot of problems. It's rampant in Germany, it's rampant in America, it's rampant in Australia, and many of the large countries is very rampant. So there is no chance of us going there, as we say, the big apple. The big apple is here right now because this is the best country in the world. And we at least are gaining stripe because we don't have much. So I'm saying again, let us link with the Grenadian people, see how much we could soften them up to get them to do the right thing. And I want to give the government praise, including the health department, for the way they handle this thing over the few months gone.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Enjoy the rest of your day and a wonderful holiday season to you and your family.
Yep. You know, somebody on the live, and I want to read the comment. It says, if individuals were masking up following the government protocols, the sandals incident would not have gotten so far. I don't want to say it would not have gotten so far, but I want to say that anxieties would have been less. Anxieties definitely would have been less if we know that everyone was doing exactly what they were supposed to do to ensure that they follow the protocols. And this is not for the people, again, if you know you're following the protocols, this does not apply to you. You shouldn't be getting vexed for things that don't apply to you.
The majority of Grenadians are trying. We see them. But we have to be concerned about the fact that they walk in the streets, the towns, whether it's Grenville or St. George's or St. John's. You see a mask on their face, but not being done properly. So that's also a concern. Because if you have it underneath your chin or just... You are not the reason for it is not to enhance your beauty or people like me to make me get uglier than I am. It is for protection. And protection of what? Preventing the virus from entering into your system. And the virus enters basically either through your nostrils or through your mouth. And that's why they talk about washing hands regular and sanitizing and not putting your hands in your face. Because, you know, sometimes we push our fingers up our nose, we touch our lips. Once we do that, if we had been in a contaminated surface, we touch something, a doorknob, a table, a chair, where someone had sneezed or cough and sputum got on it and virus is there. We have to put the virus in our system.
We have to do it.
The virus don't have legs. That's the most dangerous virus I know. But he doesn't have any legs. He don't have wings either. So he don't fly from... So it comes out of a person who is contaminated with it. And it gets to you by you bringing it in. Because you either touch the surface or you're right in front of that person and you're not wearing anything protective on your face. You're not putting a mask. So when you're asked to wear the mask, there is a purpose. It means cover your nose, cover your mouth, so that whatever comes from another person's mouth doesn't get into yours, because that's how the virus will get into you.
I want to, because we're running out of time quickly. See, the time does fly so fast. To take a moment to read this press release, very important. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Keith Mitchell will deliver a national address Monday night, tonight, in which he is expected to announce the imposition of a curfew. The curfew is intended to go in effect at 8 p.m. on Monday, December 21st, 2020.
So that's tonight, too.
That's tonight, yeah. It has become necessary as part of intensified efforts to contain the recently detected cluster of COVID-19 cases, which experienced a further spike Sunday with the confirmation of additional positive cases. The full scope of the government's heightened measures to safeguard the population will be discussed at a cabinet meeting that will precede the Prime Minister's address. Dr. Mitchell assures the nation ahead of his address that a 24-hour lockdown is not being implemented at this time. He said daytime operation of businesses, including supermarkets, will continue as normal. Therefore, there is no need for panic buying or creating unnecessarily large gatherings, which in turn create the environment for potential exposure of the deadly virus. Business owners and managers, I call on you to firmly implement the required protocols and ensure that customers are wearing their masks appropriately, sanitizing upon entry, and remaining socially distanced. End of quote. The Prime Minister's address will be broadcasted on GIS TV channels 22 at 8 p.m. on Monday and will be available on the GIS Facebook page and YouTube pages. Persons can tune in via radio and television stations and social media platforms. I know for a fact that we will be carrying it here live as well. So persons are encouraged to tune in and actively listen. You know, sometimes you're listening by inactively listening. Actively listen. Do not go in with the preconceived notion that I know what you will say already. Listen properly to what is being said and take heed. Because, you know, I know there are going to be people coming out of this press conference who listen and hear what they want to hear and go and say all sorts of craziness.
Well, they don't understand differently to other people. Some people measure of understanding varies, and so they bring out a totally different understanding to what is going to be said. But I like what you said. Encourage everyone, please listen, hear what needs to be, what will be said, and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because it is all about putting in the measures for greater protection.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Whether you feel it should have been done before, it should be a next time, why now? Whichever way you feel, the issue before us is that there's been a cluster, we're seeing a spike. The health officials have been giving advice to the government what steps should be taken, and government in turn, after assessment, have decided, yes, we're going to do X or we're going to do Y. Absolutely. And the Prime Minister is going to do that in a national address tonight. So let's take a little time to listen, to understand, and to practice what we should. Friends, we are running out of time. We're coming down to the end. And I want to use this opportunity to say to the listeners of our talk and to the Grenadian public in general, if you're listening for the first time, thank you for your listenership over the last so many months.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks to all those who have made the efforts in one way or the other to ensure that we continue to remain safe. Of course, we can't forget our frontline workers, police officers, nurses, doctors, orderlies, those in the medical profession, those who are at our borders like the custom officers and the immigration officers and others. Whatever you have done, whether you work at a nursing home or in a daycare center and you have been doing your part, you have been encouraging. Those who have been sewing masks, we have a lot of people who, it's a way of life for them now. But they saw the opportunity. So even amidst all of the chaos and the confusion and the challenges that we have faced, some opportunities did step up. And they're making sure that masks is available so our people can have them to wear. You know, for all of the bus drivers and conductors that are hand sanitizing and wearing their masks and encouraging the passengers to do so, thank you. But encourage your other colleagues to do likewise.
To do it as well, yeah.
If each of us tap the other on the back and say, look, bro, let's do that because it's the right thing to do. Gradually, we all, like I oftentimes say, would brighten each little corner where we are, and the whole of Grenada and probably the Caribbean will be illuminated as a result.
Yeah.
I want to thank all of you for your constant support, your listenership, for your advice when you can, but also for your criticism in times when I didn't do so right. And you met me one-on-one and said, I didn't like what you said, or I heard that. And, we were able to have a dialogue. Thank you. My friends, my family, everyone, thank you for this support. And as we move into closer to the day, to Friday, the day that we, it's a birth of Christ, and we want to celebrate his birthday, let's take good measures in what we do. It is not ordinary times. It is extraordinary times. So we need to take extra precaution.
Absolutely.
We need to move extraordinarily to make sure that while we celebrate, while we have a good time, while we enjoy the Christmas season, because it's a whole season, not just the day on Friday, because then we go into the old year and the new year, and people have the different ways of celebrating. That we take extra time to make sure everything is good, everything is safe, everyone is masked up, and we remain safe for 2021.
Absolutely.
it may be today, may be my last day on the program before 2021 comes around.
Maybe.
I just want to wish everyone a safe, peaceful, and happy holiday season.
Yeah.
Do enjoy yourselves. Do have fun in whatever limited way you can. But always remember that you need to be safe and you need to be secure.
Absolutely.
Thank you all again.
Guys, we have come to the end of our program. And as we say here every day, in whatever you do and whatever you say, be safe, be secure. We always want to be talking with you, and we don't ever want to be talking about you. Please adhere to the protocols, wear your mask, and be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Stay tuned for the national report.
approves US $25 million towards Grenada's COVID-19 crisis response and fiscal management. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Friday, December 18th, 2020, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The World Bank has approved the US $25 million towards Grenada's COVID-19 crisis response and fiscal management development policy credit. The bank said in a news release that the quick disbursing financing will support this country's efforts to respond to the COVID-19 crisis in the short term and enhance long-term sustainability and resilience. The World Bank Country Director for the Caribbean, Tassin Said, said the assistance will help Grenada weather the current crisis and enhance resilience. She said, and I quote, "In recent years, the government of Grenada has made significant progress on economic reforms and fiscal consolidation. The COVID-19 crisis, however, has had a disproportionate socio-economic impact on highly tourism-dependent small island economies, including Grenada." Unquote. The World Bank financing is expected to help the government to strengthen the country's health systems and protect livelihoods through financial assistance to the tourism sector, the agriculture sector, and small businesses. The operation also supports the country's medium-long-term structural reforms to improve fiscal management and debt transparency, enhance climate resilience, and strengthen public accountability. The financing, which is from the International Development Association, IDA, is interest-free with a maturity of 40 years, including a grace period of 10 years. Continuing the news, a bilateral debt agreement was signed between the government of Grenada and the United States at the Ministry of Works conference room on Friday. The agreement will consolidate and reschedule certain debts owed to the United States to support the government of Grenada to devote those increases to promote social health and economic spending in response to the COVID-19 crisis. Affixing signatures to the document was U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Carl Duckworth and Finance Minister Honorable Gregory Bowen. Mr. Duckworth says at a time when so many in Grenada are now affected by the impact of COVID-19 virus, the United States reaffirms its commitment to Grenada and its people.
We've seen firsthand how the diminished number of tourists and students, along with this new COVID cluster, has affected the lives of all Grenadians. Once in force, this agreement defers the payment of more than $320,000 US dollars in principal and interest due so that Grenada can focus on immediate pandemic needs. We hope the agreement will ease the difficult choice of servicing debt or responding to urgent health and economic needs here in Grenada. And then on a personal note, I will say that as we enter the holidays, my family and I are keeping the people of Grenada in their prayers, and then looking forward to 2021 as we face it together.
Honorable Gregory Bowen says the pandemic has brought a new perspective to the fore, and just as the United States gave tremendous support to the country after the passage of Hurricanes Ivan and Emily, they have once again come forward in aid of the people of Grenada.
Today, we're here with the expanded definition of disaster, the pandemic, and the United States again being part of and a leader in the G20 with the debt service suspension initiative, the DSSI. And here we are benefiting again under the broader definition of disaster. So on behalf of the government and people of Grenada, I want to say thank you very much. As you know, we are entering a new phase of the pandemic with respect to a particular country, and the assistance will go in particular to doing very good essential services for the people of Grenada. So I want to extend on behalf of the Grenada, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through whom we operate, our sincere appreciation.
The United States helped lead the G20's efforts to establish the Debt Service Suspension Initiative, which provides a suspension on official bilateral debt service payments by low-income countries so they can channel savings towards COVID-19 responses. The Ministry of Health announces the laboratory diagnosis of 9 new positive cases of COVID-19, which brings the number of confirmed active cases to 45. At last update on December 15th, there were 44 active cases. Since then, 1 person has been medically cleared. Further, 7 guests at Sandals, Grenada, who tested positive, have since left the island. They did so before results were obtained. Therefore, as of December 16th, there was a total of 36 active cases on island. However, as of Thursday, December 17th, a further 9 cases were diagnosed, bringing the total of active cases to 45. Overall, Grenada has recorded 94 positive cases of COVID-19 since the pandemic reached our shores in March. Based on the size of the cluster and vigorous contact tracing efforts, the number of positive cases is constantly changing as more tests are being conducted and many more individuals are carded to be retested in the coming days. This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Grenada's chief medical officer has ordered that all confirmed positive COVID-19 individuals, their contacts, and members of their household must remain in quarantine or isolation for 14 days. Anyone who fails to comply with this order will be in breach of the Public Health COVID-19 Regulations 2020 and is guilty of an offense. Upon summary conviction, that person will be liable to a penalty of up to $10,000. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. 2,000 PCR test kits will be donated to Grenada by the Brazilian government as part of its OECS COVID-19 response campaign. So far, over $2.16 million worth of health supplies have been donated to countries within the OECS. The government has collaborated with CAFA, PAHO, SEDIMA, CARICOM, and other donor partners to make the distributions possible. Head of the OECS Human and Social Division, Dr. Carlin Radix, said the donation of the test kits is timely as most countries' laboratories are fully equipped to accommodate more effective testing.
That includes PPE, ventilators, PCR test kits, GeneXpert PCR test kits, swabs. Am I leaving ICU kits? I don't think I'm leaving anything out. So those all aimed at fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. And we continue to do all we can because every drop in the bucket, I think, goes a long way. So this brings me back to really thanking, because this is the 6,000 PCR test kits just from this initial donation will go a very long way in terms of increasing the capacity of testing for our member states and actually it comes at the best time because now the labs are ready. Back in February, they may not have been ready to use those kits.
Grenada and St. Lucia are the most recent recipients. Dr. Radix explained that although there are challenges to move supplies to the various countries, she is happy that Grenada's health sector can make use of the kits.
Just over the weekend, they have had a cluster of cases. And so this is the reason why we've looked into how we could send some of the kits over to Grenada for the risk. We're going to send 2,000 to Grenada for now, yeah. If we can find the right way to send it. Unfortunately, moving things around in this pandemic has been difficult. We may have to reach out to RSS, yeah, to see how we can move things across.
Finally, in the news, the Royal Grenada Police Force, RGPF, says its Yuletide operations will include public education campaigns, heightening protection, and increasing its speed of response to crack down on crimes during the holiday. On Friday, Assistant Commissioner of Police Jesmond Prince said more officers will be deployed to assist in operational traffic checks and roadblocks. He said officers have been instructed to adopt a zero-tolerance approach towards policing this Christmas, as restrictions are in place to curb social gatherings and late events. The goal is to fight crime while keeping citizens safe during the fight against COVID-19.
And as we get closer to Christmas Eve, we would see more and more of these activities happening around the island. What we expect of you as the public and what you expect to see with us is that gradual increase of these operational intentions. But we also like the public to work along with us. We believe that since we started this operation in November, 1st of November, we've been supported very, very well by the community in general. We've seen a lot more compliance to regulations, and in particular the COVID regulations. We've seen a lot of compliance. We've seen some failures somewhere as well, and have dealt with, in most instances, warning persons, encouraging persons to practice and do the right thing. And we've seen a great increase in terms of compliance. So we are asking and continuing to ask the public to work along with us to ensure that we do everything as a nation to keep our country safe.
New regulations stipulate that 10 p.m. all businesses except those that provide essential services must close, and buses must also cease to operate. ACP Prince announced that taxi operators and bus drivers desirous of operating after 10 p.m. must apply to the Commissioner for permission.
Arrangement is made for taxis and buses, public transport, to operate after 10 p.m. with permission from the Commissioner of Police. So any taxi or bus or public transportation that is going to be operating after 10 p.m., an application must be forwarded to the Commissioner of Police for permission to do so. And when the permission is issued, the person to whom the permission is issued needs to have that document with them as they travel after the 10 o'clock hour.
Organizers of social events must also apply for permission to host more than the required 10 persons at a function.
The last amendment to the public health COVID regulation speaks to the reduction of the number of persons for social event, weddings, and funerals. So where it used to be 20 for social events, 75 for weddings and funerals, it is now 10 across the board. So we're asking persons again to stick within the established protocol for 10 persons to attend your event. If you're planning an event, plan for 10 persons and no more than 10. If you desire to have more than 10, then you have to write to the Ministry of Health for permission to have more than 10 persons. But I must say to you that until the Ministry of Health responds to your request, you cannot do the event. And if the ministry says no to your request, then of course no. And if the ministry says yes, and your event includes music, then you have to apply to the Commissioner of Police for permission to play music.
That story just ended the national report for today, Friday, December 18th. Let's recap the top story. World Bank approves US $25 million towards Grenada's COVID-19 crisis response and fiscal management. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.